And stop saying that to lesbians,
Yeah.
please. Because
Yes.
we love it.
Yeah.
Okay? We
if
do.
you're ashamed of what you got going on, you don't need to spread the shame onto other women. Do some work on yourself, please, and thank you. Speech over.
Good night.
Where are the quiet gays? Where are the quiet gays supposed to go?
Perfect, because that's what I was going to tell you is don't record to the cloud. I did that one time and it didn't separate the audio files. So what it's going to do is make a folder after we hang up. Keep your computer open and like charged, and then it will. There we go. Hold on. It will like convert the files. This is so funny because I'm upside down on my end.
This is fine though, because it's just better for everyone if no one looks at me this time.
I can't even tell. You're also upside down to me.
It's gone down so much. I'm on day 3 of antibiotics, and now I only have this part swollen. But before, my eye was like literally almost swollen shut. I also have a scab on my nose. So, we're on the up and up, but I was looking a little cyclopsy for a minute there.
Oh, Haylie, that's so sad.
Yeah, my girlfriend was like staring at me yesterday, and I was like, "Why are you looking at me like that?"
She's like, "You look wrecked."
And she goes, "Is your nose okay?" And I was like, "Oh no, what's wrong with my nose?"
You're like, "No, not the nose now."
Yeah. And sure enough, there's like blood dripping down my nose, and I had just been talking to somebody, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh."
Haylie, you know what though? Okay, this weather has been shit. Like it's been with the wind and then it being cold. Like my nose has been so messed up. It's so dry, and then it's like ugh, I hate it. So maybe that has something to do with your nosebleed.
I mean, this scab is up here, but no, the nosebleed I had before, literally, I think that this eye thing and the nosebleed I had and that rash I had all over my face is because I've been working with fake snow, and I react very poorly to it.
Oh shit, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
But because it's time for the holidays, I'm going to be working with fake snow for the next like several months.
Is there like some like some type of vaccine? But like some type of like I don't know, something you can take to like negate it? Like I don't know.
No.
You better get that fucking EpiPen that I've been telling you to get forever.
I'm already on allergy medication, and the thing about it is that it's fake snow and it's everywhere. Like they pump it all over into the air.
What is fake snow made of?
Paper. It's like watery paper.
Oh,
and
ew.
They put it all over the ground, and they like put it in the air like there's snow falling, and I just have to stand there and breathe it in for 16 hours every day.
Ugh. What about wearing like an N95?
I mean, yeah, I could do that.
I want to try.
That'll protect, like, I guess my lungs, but everything else is still exposed.
Yeah, I mean, it could still be a skin irritant, but at least it's not going into your body.
Yeah.
Try it. See if you have any luck.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, how have you been? We need to get together like in real life.
Yeah.
What are you laughing at?
I'm just falling apart. I've been having these horrible migraines. So
I know. I'm so sad for you.
Yeah, my health is not well.
No.
But other than that, we're good.
Okay, should we get into this?
Yes.
Okay, because I have a lot to say.
Okay. Welcome back, everybody, to the Lesbian Book Club podcast. Today we're back with another episode of The L Word. We have season 1, episode 9, and this one, it was really good, and I was less irritated with Jenny. It is called Listen Up, and I think, well, maybe Jenny's listening up.
I don't know. I felt like I was talking to someone earlier today, and I was like, they were asking me what the next podcast episode was, and I was like, I think it's going to be like, it's a real turning point in the season. So, because especially like the last like 30 seconds with Bette and Tina at the therapy session.
Yeah.
There's like a whole thing. So I'm like excited to talk about it. I'm super excited to talk about the Dana storyline, the Dana and her mom storyline. You're less annoyed with Jenny? I need to hear about that.
I am this episode.
Okay.
Specifically only this episode.
Yeah. That's super fair. Okay, cool. Who should we start with? Who should we talk about?
Let's talk about Dana.
Okay, let's do it. So, yeah, that's a good idea because let's talk about the opening scene. It's like these two girls who are horseback riders, dressage, which is like, I think, which is what in the Olympics, remember that? Like the cool horse is like, dun, 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 and it like dances to it. That's, I think, what dressage is, whatever the fuck it's called. That like Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart went to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's that. But anyway, there's two like teenage girls, and I guess one's like going off to like this like really hoity-toity like camp or something. I don't know. The other one didn't get in, and then they're like in the stable. You're a horse girl, aren't you?
To a degree.
Okay, you look like a horse girl.
Hey!
Am I wrong?
Yes.
You think I'm wrong?
Yeah. Now
I
you're
don't-
sideways.
Oh.
Horse girls in my mind have like really long hair and
Haylie, you have really long hair.
yeah, but they wear it in a particular way.
The high pony.
No.
Oh,
They wear it like in a weird listen. I don't wanna
don't alienate our horse girl audience.
yeah, I don't want to alienate our horse girl audience. Because we all know our audience is just full of horse girls. but
Exactly.
I grew up in the midst of the horse girls.
Right.
And while I am maybe part horse girl,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not full horse girl because
Okay.
there's a little bit of insult to horse girl. There's a lot of insult
Okay,
to
well,
horse
I
girl.
wasn't using it in that way, but didn't you also say in a previous episode that you can smell that conditioner? That's the horse conditioner.
Yes, from a
Yeah,
mile
see?
away.
Horse
There's
girl.
somebody in our circle that uses that shampoo.
I use it.
But it's not you. There's
Okay.
somebody else that,
Well, I
that
mean-
uses it.
Wait, who?
I'm not gonna say it on the podcast, but I haven't asked them, but the second I met them, I was like, you use horse shampoo.
Well, when you're around Kennedy, you'll smell it because I actually don't use it. I use it on the girls. So
Okay, yeah, I've never smelled it on you.
yeah, it's because I don't use it for my own hair. I use like a hair mask. I actually don't use like a conditioner. I use like a mask because I only condition like once a week. But anyway, that's so funny. Okay, so anyway, the two horse girls, they're in the stable and there's like a brunette and a blonde, and the brunette one starts to like they give each other like a hug because they're like leaving. They're sad that they're not gonna like be together. And then the brunette girl starts to kiss the blonde girl. And the blonde girl like pushes her away and is like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, I don't know. It just felt right." And the blonde girl says, "We all have those types of feelings. That doesn't mean you have to act on them."
Mhm.
And the religious trauma that was sparked in my fucking head when that came out. I was like, oh shit. And what's funny is I actually remember this opening scene from like my rewatches and like the first time I watched it because it was so impactful to me. And I was like, oh, I know exactly what episode this is. So I'm really excited to talk about this storyline. What did you think of the opening scene?
Really, I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, because I just thought about the whole life that both of these girls are gonna have ahead of them.
Yeah.
One of them who acknowledges herself that she also has these feelings and she thinks that everybody does, but everybody shoves them down and stifles them and just lives their life like in denial of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one that tried to express these feelings and then was rejected so harshly and is probably now in this, elite circle of hers, going to be an outsider in some degree, as long as that other girl if that other girl tells people, and maybe she is so ashamed of what happened that she never tells anybody. But
Right.
I don't know, it just made me really sad. And it was really interesting to me that that girl thought that everybody has those feelings, because that also goes to show that this is not something that people were talking about, because not everybody has those kinds of feelings.
I feel like that's a really common experience though with lesbians is like, yeah, doesn't everyone think girls are pretty like that? Yeah, like, okay, we're supposed to like men, but women are just objectively prettier. Like, I thought that was like a normal thing to think, and that was like a straight thought. Even, you know what I mean? I just feel like it's a common experience to feel like that, and then realize later, like, oh, like, no, straight girls don't think like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
What about it was so impactful for you?
I feel like in like religious circles, and the only like one that I have any experience with, obviously, is like evangelical Christianity, is it's very much like hate the sin, love the sinner, right? And it's like, okay, you can be gay, but you can't act on it. You can have like it's called like, same sex attraction. You can have same sex attraction, but that either means that you live a celibate life, or you do get married and live like a quote unquote straight life, even though you're not straight, right? So you don't act on your feelings. You don't like, it's the physical act that is the sin, not the feelings behind it, which I think is like an evolution in the theology, but obviously just as harmful, you know? So when she said, it was a very much like love the sinner, hate the sin thing, where it's
Yeah.
like you can have these feelings, but we don't have to act on them, you know? And to me, it just brought back, it's so sad because when I was in that world, had friends who I'm pretty sure were lesbians who had that mentality. And that's so sad to think about. And it's like, it doesn't have to be like that. But again, it's a different worldview. It's a different way of going through life. And you can't say one is wrong or not, but you can say that it is like hurtful, mental health wise, just all of it, you know? So to me, that's why it was impactful. And then to see where this opening scene intersected at the end with Dana's storyline, and how, I mean, we watched the episode, so how it was her mom, right?
Yeah.
And how her mom still had the same feelings about it. But you could see it tore her mom up. Like, even when they were like in the line and the brother asked Dana, like, "Oh, do you have a boyfriend, Dana?" And she was like, "Oh," like, because her brother obviously knows that she's lesbian. And her mom was like, "No, Dana's like so focused. She has a lot going on for her. She just has to wait around for Mr. Right like I did." And you could just see how it still impacted her mom. Like, her mom doesn't seem like she wanted to be with this man in general, or a man in general.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's kind of why it hit me. I was just like, it also made me think of Taylor Swift's song "Guilty as Sin," because there's like a lyric in there. Well, the whole song is like, how can I be guilty as sin if I never touched this person, but I've just had all these thoughts? And it's like the same. There's a specific line. Hold on. Okay. Yeah. So the line is, I keep these longings locked in lowercase inside a vault. Someone told me there's no such thing as bad thoughts. Only your actions talk. Right. So to me, that's a very much like, we all have these feelings, but you don't have to act on them. Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what it made me think of, because that song is like rich with religious trauma for sure. And anyway, tell me your take. What did you think of this whole storyline as we like flesh it out?
I think that another big part of why her mom is probably so upset, and I would imagine she probably doesn't even know it in the moment as she's having this initial emotional reaction to Dana coming out to her. But as she sits in her feelings and processes Dana's coming out, she probably gets angry and upset in a way that she understands more, that she gave up what she wanted because of what she was supposed to do. And her understanding of what she told that girl, that you can have these feelings, but you can't act on them. And then she lived her whole life in this suppressed state and did what she didn't really want to do with her life because of the expectations that her society had on her. I mean, she's in this clearly upper class, fancy, like she's doing dressage, she's going
Right.
to this fancy camp, she's whatever, you know, and
then later becomes the Orange County Republican Woman of the Year.
exactly.
Like, oh my God.
Right. Yeah. And now here's her daughter who is living out what she couldn't have and what she wanted. And I think that kids very often do that to parents that weren't willing to face the truth themselves a lot of the time, is
Yeah.
that they force their parents to face the truths that they didn't want to eventually anyway, because kids grow up and don't have the same judgments or fears that their parents have. They'll have their own, but they won't have the same ones all of the time. And that just comes from living in different times and being around different people and having your own thoughts and opinions and being your own person. And I mean, that's just a fact of life, is that as a parent, kids bring back things to, you know, you end up with a lot of having to face your own self in your kids, right?
Yeah. You have to
And
reparent yourself in a lot of ways when your children bring out things that you're like, oh shit, that's
yeah.
me. That's me. And what did I need as a child when I was dealing with these things that I didn't get? How do I give that to my kid if I never got it?
Mhm.
But then it's like, then you have to reparent yourself and give it to yourself and then give it to your child. Like, give yourself the permission to be like, yeah, I didn't get this, right? Like for Dana's mom, she didn't get to live maybe the way she wanted to live. Like, she clearly wanted to kiss that girl back.
Mhm.
So now she has to be like, she has to confront that in herself and be like, but now I also need to give my daughter the acceptance,
Yeah.
which we don't see that happen. And I don't know if we will. I can't remember. But something that I had read on Twitter a while ago gave me like, it was almost like a comforting thought. If like people are like, feel like they're the first person in their family to be like gay or lesbian or whatever. Like, I read a quote that said, you are not the first person in your lineage to be queer.
Mm-mm.
And to me, I was like, that's such a comforting thought, because you're like, oh, there are like women that are either like that are my direct, ancestors, my direct family line that were definitely also queer. Like, the odds are that they were, right?
Yeah.
And it's cool to think about somebody living, 100 years ago or 200 years ago, having the same feelings and thoughts, and maybe they didn't get to express them. And now we live in a time where it's okay too. And how proud they would be of, of you to be like, oh, you're just like out and that's like okay and you get to live, you know?
Yeah. That is a
So
nice thought.
I know. It made me think of that with Dana though, because Dana's thinking, that she's going to be met with all this resistance and everything, but lo and behold, her mom is like probably a lesbian.
Yeah.
I guess hopefully we'll get to see more of that storyline.
Yeah. And we hear her parents, her dad, call it a lifestyle.
Yeah. To Alice, and Alice, what the fuck? That was so. I love Alice. Because her dad says to Alice, are you a part of this lifestyle too? And Alice goes, no, I have a boyfriend.
Not her battle.
Right? Pick your battles. You don't need to do this right now.
uh, yeah. Eh. It's just so funny because, I mean, this is beating a dead horse. Anybody listening to this podcast has probably heard this or talked about this a million times, but sorry, there's a fire outside my window.
Oh my God. Well, you and your window have the craziest shit going on.
And I'm not sure if it's supposed to be there or not.
What color is the smoke?
There is no smoke. I just see fire.
Is it an apartment or on a hill?
It is inside an apartment, but it's like a large amount of fire.
Should you call the fire department?
I don't know. Like, it looks contained, like it's not spreading.
You see a person?
No.
You might need to call the fire, like literally call the fire department, or like call. Do you call the fire department? Or do you call 911?
I'm gonna watch it for like 2 more minutes, and if it spreads, I'll call. Because it could be a fireplace in the window.
Get your phone out and zoom in.
I called the fire department last week, and they showed up so fast, and I was so proud of myself.
Why? What happened?
There was a fire.
Like where?
On the road.
Wait, so are you supposed to, if you see a fire, do you call the fire department or do you call 911?
911.
Okay. Because I one time thought I had a gas leak, and so I called the like cop non-emergent line or whatever, because I was like, it's not an emergency, but like, and they're like, okay, hold on, we'll transfer you over to fire. And I was like, oh, was I supposed to call that? But they'd already tried to transfer me.
I sent you a picture of it.
Yes. That looks like a TV with a fire on it, Haylie.
How do you think?
Yeah. Look how it's like a straight line at the top and a straight line at the bottom. No?
Oh, maybe.
I don't know. Keep an eye on it, but it looks like, because like I'll do that. I'll put a fireplace on my TV with the crackling noises like at Christmas.
They should close their windows if they do that. That's stressful for the neighbors.
Yeah, we're trying to record a podcast here. Worried about your safety. Oh my God, that's so funny.
Okay, I'm going to continue to beat a dead horse now.
Yeah, please.
So, the whole lifestyle thing. Okay, so we live a gay lifestyle, but you don't live a straight lifestyle.
I know, it's so fucking stupid.
And please do tell, what is a straight lifestyle?
Boring.
You buy chuggy decor from TJ Maxx.
Do not say chuggy. Ew. That was cringe. Aren't you too old to use that word?
No.
Oh,
There's so much chuggy stuff in this world. I have to call it out when I see it.
Doesn't chuggy mean like millennial stuff?
A lot of millennial stuff is chuggy, yeah.
Shut up. I'm literally a millennial.
I know. Sorry.
It's okay. I'm like a young millennial.
It is what it is.
It's fine. But that word is so cringe.
You know what I have to tell you that you have to edit out?
Okay. Oh, if we're gonna be doing that, I have stuff to tell you.
Okay. I'm actually shook.
I know. It's insane, right? So anyway, yeah, I had to tell you that tea. I was going to tell you at the beginning, but I forgot.
Wow. Okay. Okay. What? That was crazy. Okay.
I don't understand life. I don't understand. That's chuggy. I didn't use it right.
That's how you use it. But okay.
It's cringy.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, I'll stick with my cringy word. Okay. Anyway.
Great. Okay.
Back at it. We just completely dropped tea that left everyone, mostly Haylie, shook. So that was really fun. Unfortunately, we can't talk about it on the podcast because,
yeah, I'm shaking
privacy issues. Yeah, you're shaking in your boots.
Yeah.
I mean, it was some really good tea. It's like the Alex Morgan sipping her tea and that World Cup celebration against England type of tea.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't know what you're talking about, but sure. Yeah.
We're at the point in the episode where she doesn't know what I'm talking about again. Okay. Back to Dana and Alice and the lesbian. And the fucking brother is so annoying.
Yeah.
Like quintessential little brother. I can't wait for you because he has a little bit of a storyline. So I can't wait for you to see it and then be like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. I did like that he was like, well, when mom and dad, what's the word when you kick someone out of your family?
Oh, disown.
Yeah, I kept wanting to say disband. When they disband you, when they disown you, don't worry, I'll still come visit you. I was like, oh, that's nice.
I like when he walked up to them and was like, hey, lesbos.
But there was also like a really cute, sweet moment when this woman came up at the Republican convention and asked for Dana's signature on her Subaru ad, and she got it because she was like, "Look how far we've come! This is so cool!" And I'm like, "Wow, we have an ally at the Republican convention! Hell yeah,
Ally!"
Yeah, and also.
Because it was for her gay son, who she obviously loved.
Oh, I missed that part.
Yeah, she said, my son showed it to me. Like, he's gay. My son showed it to me.
Oh.
I know. It's really sweet. That's a cute mug. Did you make that?
I made it.
It looks homemade. Cute.
Made it on a date.
Oh my God, cute.
Yeah.
I want to talk about my dates on here.
Ooh, yeah, Lauren's going on dates because guess what? She's a hot commodity.
You're so funny. No, we're not going to talk about my dates on here. Although I went to the Pantages. That was so much fun. I love the theater. I'm just a Shakespearean girl at heart living in the 2000s.
She's Victorian, not hot. She's wearing a corset and a dress with so much underwear.
Yes, I would love to wear a corset with a giant ball gown. But that was really fun. That's I'll give you that. That was a fun date. Okay, move on. Yay.
Well,
we'll talk off camera about it.
Yeah. How about let's talk about a not so fun date, which is Bette and Tina.
Oh my God.
Their expedition to group couples therapy.
That was a really incredible segue, Haylie.
Thank you. I'm really good at the New York Times connections game.
Oh my God, yes. I love that for you. I'm sure you are.
Yeah.
Wait, did I tell you? Did I tell you that the girl that I'm dating is a Taurus?
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I switched from like a bunch of Libras in my life to now like a bunch of Tauruses in my life. And I was like, man, I just must really like Venus because Tauruses and Libras are ruled by Venus.
What does that mean?
So Venus is the planet of like love and beauty. So Tauruses are like more focused inwardly on like love and beauty. So like they're gorgeous. Like, okay, like you're a Taurus. Elaine is a Taurus. Lindsay's a Taurus. Like, and also like kind of like homebodies. Like they make their space like one of like peace and beauty. Libras are more like community focused in terms of like love and beauty, right? But they're both ruled by Venus. So they're very Venusian in their energy. And I think I just really like that type of energy.
I like that word, Venusian.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, next time somebody asks me to describe myself, I'm gonna say, I'm Venusian.
You should. That's a great word.
I'm gonna say, come again?
And then you can explain it to them. You could be like, you know how it's like American is for people from America? Well, Venusian is like people ruled by Venus. There you go. That's where we get Martian from.
Yeah.
Martian is Mars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And like Earthlings.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so anyway. Yes, they're going to group therapy.
Yeah. And here's the thing about this is that Bette is being a pill about it. She's like, I'm only doing this for you. I don't even want to go in there. And Tina's like, come on, maybe it'll help. And if you hate it and you think that you're above all of them, then you can just say it. I'm above all of you, and we'll leave. And Beth's like, I'm gonna be grouchy the whole time. You can't make me participate. And then we go in there, and Bet is just like sitting silently grouchy in her chair. Everyone's taking turns being vulnerable, and it comes to Bet, and she's like, pass. And I'm like, what is your problem, girl? You need to get it together.
Bet does not have the capability to be vulnerable. Even when she was like, you know what? Fine, I'll like say something. It was the most basic fucking shit I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, the therapist called her out and was like, oh, good job, Bet. Next time you can say what you really mean.
I know. You know, yeah, but we've seen Bet like this before. She didn't like in the opening episode, she's not like a fan of therapy because Bet is not a fan of Bet. She's not a fan of her own feelings. She doesn't want to talk about herself because I think she might be scared of what she finds out and might not be as good of a person. I cannot believe I was so obsessed with Bet. That's what I was saying, and it's a turning point in the episode where I'm like, wait, do we hate Bet?
I think that the purpose of us watching this was for this to be a wake-up call for you.
You know what? Everything is very aligning. But yeah, it's just Bet is not somebody that is capable, at least not right now, of like putting herself to the side for the sake of her partner.
Mm-mm.
And she's so rude the whole time. I did think she had a bit of a case against the other black lady that was there when they were like going back and forth. I was like, okay, that's fair. But her point is also fair. You're both seeing yourselves in the other person.
I think that, honestly, Bet, and I don't really think that I have a place to insert myself into the argument that they're having.
Sure.
But listening to what each of them have to say, I think that what Bet was saying is really fair, that this woman was making a lot of assumptions about her and how she lives her life without knowing anything about her.
Yeah, but I also think that what's her, do we have a name for her?
Yolanda,
thank you. So I think Yolanda is like a very highly educated woman in this particular genre of like Black women, how they move through the world, how they relate to whiteness, like all these things. I think this is like her area of study, especially based on like her book that Bet brought up, right? So, and then Bet told on herself. I think it gave like maybe at first Yolanda was making a lot of assumptions, but she was right. Because Bet literally said, why is it so bad for me to move through the world being mistaken for white if it's easier? Like she literally said that out of her mouth. And that was Yolanda's whole problem because she's like, because that's not your identity. That's not true. You're a Black woman. And it's the same problem that Kit had with her, right? Like just because you're a light-skinned Black woman. And neither one of us have like any credence or anything to like insert on this topic because we're both like white women who have never experienced this. But I did think that Yolanda's critiques were very spot on, and then Bet gave her all the ammo she needed.
I mean, to a point.
Yeah.
But I also think that Bet really had some points there in that, like,
maybe I just really hate Bet now.
Yolanda doesn't know how she identifies. She didn't ask her. Yolanda doesn't know how she moves through the world. She hasn't seen her move through the world. She hasn't asked her about her life. She, made assumptions about them having a white baby, and they're not. She really just jumped on Bet's throat from the get-go without knowing a single thing about Bet and attacked her identity. And so that put Bet on the defensive right away.
Yeah. And if there's someone you don't want to put on the defensive, it would be Bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that honestly, for Bette feeling like her identity and her entire life was being attacked, she handled it really gracefully and had a legitimate conversation with this woman. And especially with all of these eyes on her during it.
See, that is still attractive to me about Bette. Like being able to be like cool under fire like that. I will give that to her.
Yeah. And I also think that she made a really good point to Tina too. I think Tina had some things pointed out to her that she really needed to this episode.
Oh, elaborate.
Which, so in this particular instance, Tina was like, well, I was just as upset about it as you were. And Bette was like, I highly doubt that. Like, maybe you were upset, but this was my entire life and my entire identity that was being attacked, not you. Like,
yeah.
You're the unscathed white woman attached to me in this situation. And this was an attack on me, not you. And like, of course, as her partner, that's going to hurt, because when somebody you love is being attacked, like that is really, really hurtful, and
you
want to
feel
defend
attacked
them.
as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's not the same as the hurt that they're feeling on their personhood.
Correct.
And also, watching Tina, she was excited by this. She didn't look that hurt, in my opinion. She looked a little bit, she looked a little bit amped up, and she was excited to like research who this person was, and she was excited to kind of pick her apart at the next thing. Like, it was kind of a little bit of a game to her. It wasn't the kind of like devastating attack to her as it was to Bette. It just wasn't the same thing to them.
Of course not. Of course it wasn't going to be the same. Tina was going on the like offensive while Bette was still trying to figure out what the fuck just happened.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Yeah, you're super right. Was there anything else with Tina that you thought about?
Yeah. Yeah. And also on that same note too, Tina was like, well, of course we're going back into that space. Because I had a great time and that was super interesting. And Bette was like, hold on. Do I want to go back in that space where I just felt really like unsafe and attacked? Like, do I get a choice in that?
Yeah.
And that was, I mean, again, just a really big difference in the way that they experienced that. But the other thing is that man in there who I thought was married to Yolanda, but now I'm confused because apparently she's a lesbian.
Yeah.
He, after that whole thing happened between Yolanda and Bette, was like to Tina, he was like, hey, don't let Bette get too offended or upset about this. Yolanda's just looking to see if she has an ally.
Yeah. I think that was one of the gay dudes.
Oh, okay. And Tina was like, oh yeah, like we thought it was really interesting. And he goes, you haven't even had a chance to talk to Bette about it yet. And she was like, oh, right, yeah. I thought it was really interesting.
But I think that was, go ahead, sorry.
That was the moment that I think that Tina really needed, because this whole time Tina's been we speaking for both her and Bette, like that, all the whole therapy session. Well, I think our biggest fear, well, I think and she's doing all of the talking for her and Bette of what they're feeling without ever consulting Bette, and she's making it up on the spot. And,
yeah, but Bette's also not helping her by giving her fucking anything.
Right.
And I think they're so enmeshed, like that.
Incredibly.
That I think it's a meshment into more of Bette than it is into Tina. Like, I think Tina takes on a lot of Bette's feelings without knowing her own feelings, right? So when she's saying like, "Oh, I think we found it really interesting," I think that I don't necessarily know if that was Tina's thought or if that's what Tina's thought was of Bette's experience. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Tina's first reaction in general, even outside of therapy, is to combine them into one person.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I
And
agree.
this was a little bit of a wake-up call to her that she can't really do that. Like, there has to be a level of communication. They're two separate people, and they have to each have their own personhoods.
Yeah.
And when you enmesh yourself into one person, it is not, I mean, in the long term, that just doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. Because you are two separate people.
Yeah.
And that's okay to be two separate people. It's okay to disagree with your partner and leave it there. Like you don't have to be the same. You can go through the same experience and have two wildly different experiences.
Yeah.
It's okay. So, yeah, let's talk about the end part though. Can we? Are we there yet?
Yeah.
So it's like the camera's panning around to everyone in the therapy group, and it's like they're like supposed to be reflecting silently on stuff. And Yolanda's like, "Oh, if they want an angry black lady, I'm gonna give them an angry black lady." And one of the gay dudes is like, "I'm gonna bring up that incident in whatever Rio de Janeiro. I'm gonna bring that incident up. Baltimore. I just picked a place. I'm gonna bring." I thought it was out of the country.
Mm-mm.
Oh, it's like I'm going to bring up the Baltimore incident one of these days, but now's not the time. And then the other gay dude was like, "Man, I missed that fucking call, like work call." Like this is what they're all thinking. And then it pans around to Bette, and she says, "Like I don't know what's going on. Is this what it feels like to fall out of love?" Like, and you're like kind of smacked in the face, like, "Wait a second, where did this come from?" I don't know. You tell me what your response was because this was your first time watching it. What did you think when we got a little bit of Bette's inner world?
I wasn't surprised.
Really? Tell me why.
Because a lot of the time I feel like Bette feels or seems like she has been sort of forced to be where she is. Like
Okay.
she would rather be anywhere else but where she is. And they had problems right before they decided to get pregnant. And then they get pregnant, they have the excitement about the baby, and now those old problems are going to come back up.
Yeah.
Like once that initial excitement wears off. And like she said, well, maybe it's just anxiety about the baby, or maybe I'm falling out of love. And like, yeah, maybe it is anxiety about the baby. But also when you have these big fears and feelings, it can be really hard to tell exactly what it is. And
Mm-hmm.
the way that Bette looks so distant when she's around Tina is not giving "I'm so in love and this is where I want to be," as opposed to when she's at work and she's engaged and she's locked in. That's a different Bette.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's passion there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, we have to talk about the CAC and provocations and what's going on there.
Yeah. There's all these
My
phone
people.
calls coming.
My people. Going
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah, they're calling and they're asking if she's aware that they're all going to hell because of the blasphemous art that they're displaying at the CAC.
Yep.
Which is provocations, and it's because of the display of like a naked Virgin Mary, and they're just unhappy about it. And the next thing she knows, there's all of these like evangelicals outside with petitions telling people to sign, and can you believe that they're displaying this? And then she confronts one of them and is like, "Well, have you seen it?" And he's like, "No, I don't have to." Which is so funny to me because this is just like, it's like the looking glass of
Yep.
so many things in our world. It's like, I don't have to see the thing, I just know it's bad. And I'm like, oh, that's crazy because I think you have the wrong impression of what this thing is that you are like nailing up on the cross here, buddy. But all right. Yeah.
Yep.
Your thoughts?
This is why I like Bette because like I do find her intelligence so sexy. Like to be able to like stand there and confront this person without being flustered and ask like the poignant questions and then be like, you're on private property, get off. Like I wish I was like that. I think I'm growing into that, but like I would still internally be shaking in fear, right? And I just find that type of confidence hot. But I also am learning. I think you're right. I think the reason we rewatched this was for my own personal growth. And I think I'm growing. Okay, I'm growing.
Sidebar, I love this format where you're on your phone because it feels like we're FaceTiming and I'm just like FaceTiming my friend. It's so fun.
I know, I was gonna say it too. I was like, I've been laying down, I've been sitting up. I'm just like, we're just chit-chatting.
It's so fun.
We should just do this from now on. We gotta figure out how to do like a mic situation for my audio. I hope my audio sounds good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Bette handles it really well. I think this is gonna be, I mean, I know it's gonna be a big storyline because I've seen it. So yeah, I'm excited for you to see how this goes. And the second I saw the protesters, I remembered how a certain new character gets introduced and how a new storyline gets introduced in the upcoming episodes. And I was like, oh shit, here it comes. Like, here it comes. I'm excited. But to pivot, and my segue isn't very good, but can we pivot to Shane and her friend?
Yes.
Because I forgot even what the pivot was that I was going to talk about.
That's okay.
Whatever. We're going to talk about Shane and her friend. Oh, because fucking finally they say the name Sherry Jaffe.
They do.
We didn't meet her.
No.
We're going to.
Yes, it's Clive.
Yes.
Clive is Shane's friend who we met him before because he came and he needed a place to stay. And now we see him again because, well, first we see him because he's digging through one of the friend's bags. And I think it might be Bette and Tina's because Shane, when she finds him doing it and confronts him.
No, it wasn't. It was one of the roommates that they're staying with.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, because they have a bunch of signs around the apartment, I think, about smoking or something.
Apartment.
Like,
okay.
Yeah, because, it was like a Walkman or whatever, but continue.
Okay. So he's digging through one of their bags and he's obviously looking for shit to steal.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I was just looking for a cigarette, makes up some excuse, and she calls him out because they don't smoke. And he knows that. And anyway, he pieces out real quick there. Yep. And then we see him again later when Shane is trying to leave in her car, and he approaches and he has been kicked out. And he's like, please, please make them stay. He's doing the classic addict thing, too, where he is trying to guilt her. He's doing the full on, like, pour me puppy dog eyes, please, Shane. I have nowhere to go. What am I going to do? You have to, like, you're a terrible friend if you don't help me. And really, like, playing to her emotions here. And Shane's a good person. So she gives him hundreds of dollars for hotel rooms for the next few nights, which he's obviously just gonna go blow on drugs. Yeah. And also gives him her bullet of drugs. And he is like she has just done something so nice for him, and all he has to do is say thank you. And instead he's like, well, you owe me anyway because I'm the one who even, got you anywhere, because you would have never met Harry, who, got you these great clients. And if it weren't for me, you'd be nothing. And
Right.
she's like, all right, like, fuck you, dude, get out of here.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, gets in her car to go, and then he is pushing his face on her window, like begging, please no, Shane, please, no, don't leave me out here. And it really reminded me a lot of a particular person that I was very entwined with in my college years, and it was just painful, like really, really painful. And I mean, it's like classic. They'll do that over and over and over, and it like is so painful because you want to help them, but like
Of course.
there's no way to help somebody that isn't willing to help themselves.
Right.
Which I think it's also a little. I think it's cool to see we see addiction in like two different stages in the L Word at this point. Like we have Kit and we have Clive.
Right.
And Clive is full on in the throes of addiction, like cannot be helped, is actively hurting the people that he loves and cares about and hurting himself. And then we have Kit, who is actively trying to get better, has, recognized the hurt that she had caused while she was in active addiction, and is going around and making apologies and trying to, make amends for these things, and is not always perfect, slips up, tries again. And I don't know, I think that I would like to appreciate the L Word for showing that in like a couple different stages, because that felt really real to me.
Yeah, I think it is really real. I think you're absolutely right. We're seeing a recovery process in somebody who doesn't want to recover.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's mostly it for Shane and Clive. We're kind of left there. We're left with the cliffhanger of finally Sherry Jaffe's going to come in. Hold on. Let me find out what episode this actually is in. Luck next time. Okay, hold on. Let me go to Paramount. Luck next time. Remember that, okay?
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to Paramount. Okay, here we go. Oh, is it? It's the next episode.
Okay.
Like for real this time. For real this time. Okay. Okay, last storyline, the one you wanted to talk about desperately.
Jenny,
our favorite little Pisces queen.
or not.
She could be Scorpio. She could be like a mixture of like Pisces and Scorpio. Okay, tell us.
Or just not our favorite.
No, I know. I mean, I was using it in a derogatory way.
Our favorite derogatory. Okay.
Our favorite derogatory Pisces.
Okay, so we have a visitor with Jenny, which I think the amount that this visitor, Annette, is so obnoxious is what made Jenny, in comparison, likable in this episode. So Annette is Jenny's friend from college. She's come to visit. She is actively throughout this episode finding out. She's getting up to date with all of the drama that is unfurled in Jenny's life.
Yes.
And is like, what the heck? But it's crazy because she could have just known all the drama like up front, but she won't shut up long enough for Jenny to just tell her. So she, every time she finds something out, she's like, oh my God, is there more? Why didn't you tell me this at the beginning? And it's like, well, because you interrupt her every 3 words.
Literally.
That's why. But
this fucking friend says, you got to finish your outline here, but remind me because I'm going to forget. She says the one thing that I hate when women especially say when they find out you're a lesbian. No, you already know it. Okay, good.
Yeah.
It's my least favorite thing in the entire world because I'm like, that's not it. That's not fucking it.
So annoying. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll get there. Do your outline and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's pretty much it. Is that Annette's here to visit and she finds Jenny living in the tool shed because she's been kicked out of Tim's house. And
And she finds out why, which is because Jenny had an affair with a woman.
uh-huh.
This is when she says it. She says, oh God, I fucking hate it. It makes my skin crawl. She says, oh, I totally get like loving women and like the emotional connection and everything, but I can't get down with the pussy. And I'm literally like, that's not how it works.
And she says, and I just love dick too much.
Oh my God. Like, how many times have you heard that from someone? I've heard that from so many women.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you're lesbian? Like, I just don't like pussy. And I'm like, ugh, do you think that's what being a lesbian is? Do you think it has to do at all with that? Like, I want to like murder anyone that says that. So when she said it was so triggering for me, I was like, yes, I do love pussy, but that's not why I'm a lesbian. And that's not what would happen for you either. If you love women in a romantic way, it just naturally fleshes out that you are interested in the sex part of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's your thoughts on that? Because it made me want to literally scream.
Yeah. I mean, when women say that, I'm like, every time they say it, I'm like, you're so dumb.
Yes.
If you have nothing else to say, that you're gonna fall back on that.
Maybe it's because the only thing women like about men is their genitals.
Which I just can't think is true. Because so many women that I know are like, well, of course we don't think that dicks are hot. Look at them. And I'm like, like women that like men.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, so you don't like dick, but
they don't like the way it looks.
sex
They
with
like the way
men.
it makes them feel.
Which
is
really
hilarious because it's like, yeah, straps.
negates the argument that they make here.
Exactly. I know they're like, I've had women ask me like, oh, so you don't like penetration, you don't like penises, and I'm like, I like it when it's attached to a woman. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not about the apparatus or the genital, it's about the other person. There's so many things you can do sex-wise. Like, it's just absolutely ridiculous. And I'm like, your sex must be so boring. I'm so sorry, but your sex must be so boring if it's just like P and the V. Like, yeah, we can do that too.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of other things we can. I don't know. It's just so. I don't know. It feels like, you know what it is. I'm fleshing this out as we're talking about it. It feels very sexualizing of lesbians to boil everything down to like, I don't like vagina.
Yeah, it does.
And it's like, that's not what we are. That's not who we are. We're so much, it's so much more deep than that.
Yeah.
I think that's why it is.
The other part of this that also really confuses me above all else, honestly, like the confusion factor, is that I have heard so many women say comments like, oh, I could never eat pussy.
I can never go down on a woman.
Yeah, like I don't like the smell, or like I can't imagine it would ever taste good. And I'm like, hold on.
Her sister was a witch. So what does that make her sister? The Wicked Witch of the East, bro. Okay.
For one, if there's good hygiene happening, it smells good.
Right.
And it tastes good.
Right.
Okay? If it doesn't, that means that there is something wrong.
Right.
And you should go to a doctor, or you're just not having good hygiene and you should take care of that.
Go take a shower.
Yeah. Don't put anything up there.
Even vagina after like a long day, if there's good hygiene before that, it's still fine.
Yeah, like if we have young listeners here, let me just give you a quick thing. Don't put anything up there. Like Summer's Eve or whatever the hell that's called. Don't use that. That's not good. It's going to throw your pH off.
Yeah.
Okay.
When she says don't put anything up there, that doesn't mean tampons and shit like that. What she means is don't douche.
Yeah. Soap and water on the outside.
Yes.
It's self-cleaning, baby. Naturally
Thank you,
self-cleaning.
Haylie.
Yeah, okay. And if you have like weird looking discharge, if there's a smell, if it's uncomfortable, if it's itchy, if there's anything weird going on, go to the doctor.
Yep. Because you could have a yeast infection. It could be cleared up in 3 days. Like, it's okay.
Yeah. And these things happen. It's fine. It's nothing to be embarrassed about.
Nope.
Go to the doctor. They will take care of it.
And your vagina will taste fine. Everyone relax, okay?
Yeah. You want to be extra fruity, eat some pineapple, drink lots of water, girl.
Yes. Water. Literally, that's the best thing you can do is water, water, water.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you don't, you're still going to be fine. The person is into you. They will like it. Relax.
Yeah. So now that we've cleared that up.
Yes.
Girls, you're saying this stuff and yet you want other people to do that to you, but you're going to go around and say that, oh, I could never because of this smell, this taste, blah, 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 blah. Listen, don't hate on what you got.
Yeah, seriously.
Other women, embrace yourself. Stop with that self-hate shit. Like, get rid of that.
And stop saying that to lesbians, please. Because we love it. Yeah. Okay, we do. If
you're ashamed of what you got going on, you don't need to spread the shame onto other women. Do some work on yourself, please, and thank you. Speech over.
Good night. Okay, so we clearly don't like that comment.
Yeah.
I'm glad they put it in there, though. Like, because it's so real. Like we just said, like, we both have heard that comment so many times from straight women.
Yeah.
Oh, God, it still just infuriates me thinking about it. Okay, anyway. So Jenny and what's her name? What's the bitch's name? Annette? I'm just kidding. I don't really call women bitches. Annette, they like decide to like try and get revenge on Marina and Francesca because they're fucking immature and stupid. And she's like, we'll go to Twat, which is what a great name for a going out like dance or whatever, like a party. Twat the night. That's incredible. That's so good. But they decided to like go there, which I thought was hilarious because it looked like it was just the friend group there. It looked like no one else was there.
It was so empty.
It was like dead. Like they all got there like 8 p.m.
Yeah. And
they're like trying to make Marina jealous by like pretending that they're together.
They had no budget for extras.
Wait till you get to the next seasons. There's so much budget. Crazy. Anyway, continue. We're just sitting here. How's that fire doing?
It's gone.
Yeah, okay. It was
I forgot to watch it, so.
Well, thank God it was the TV.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So what did you want to talk about specifically with this storyline? What did you feel like made Jenny more endearing?
I thought that she was more genuine this episode.
She was vulnerable.
She was vulnerable. I think that she was really sitting in what she did. She took accountability. She was open and honest about her feelings, and you could tell she was heartbroken. She realized that there were consequences to what she did to Tim.
Yeah.
And she was owning it and living with those consequences.
Yep.
And she I think that she was also just like more in touch with reality in general.
It's like she was coming to terms that like this is the situation that I have put myself in.
Exactly. Yeah, it was less of like a little kid, woe is me, I'm the victim, and everybody needs to take care of me sort of thing, and more of she was acting more like an adult, and I appreciated that. I think what happened at Twat, okay, here's the other thing, is that Annette is the kind of friend to Jenny that she overpowers Jenny. Whatever she wants to do, she really eggs Jenny on, and she just does it and like takes Jenny along with her, despite Jenny being like, I don't think this is a good idea. No, please don't. And I mean, we all have known friends like that, especially when you're young, like a teenager sort of thing. I mean, every girl I think has a friend that has some like strong will idea that is maybe not a good idea, and you're like, I don't really know about that, and then you end up doing it anyway because
you can't say no to them.
like, yeah. But this is definitely the dynamic between Annette and Jenny, and especially because they have like a long-standing relationship. And that is, I mean, a thing with old friends. It's harder to say no, I think, to old friends.
Yeah, it is. It's absolutely harder because you have so much trust there.
Mm-hmm.
You have so much just relational history. It's like nothing has gone bad before. We might as well do it again. And you're just, you know, you just have that level of trust, I think.
Yeah. And it's also like when you are friends with somebody when you're so young, you haven't developed a lot of the strength it takes like to say no or set boundaries. And then when you're older and you haven't established that sort of relationship or routine, then it's weird to like step back and start establishing that almost, which like we see that here.
Yeah.
And so that's where Jenny's like, I feel like we're stalking.
She's like, I feel like maybe this is like low key against the law.
Yeah. Then they're at the club and Annette is, you know, having Jenny fake being in a relationship with her. And then she's like, oh, go. Maria's going to the bathroom. That's your sign. And
which was such a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean, literally, Francesca is there. Which, Francesca's name, Francesca Wolf, is that supposed to be a play on, like, Virginia Woolf?
Ooh, I didn't think that, but I would probably say no because I don't think, because she's not, like, a writer. She's a creative in that she's a costume, but, like, if Marina's name had been something like that, I would say yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just like a sexy name, Francesca Wolf.
Yeah.
We got to watch the hours for the podcast. Meryl Streep, Nicole Kidman, they play Virginia Woolf. There's like 3 different storylines of like lesbians.
Ooh.
It's so good.
I've never heard of it, but let's
do it. My God. We'll watch it. Okay. Another one.
And then Francesca approaches them and is like, I thought I should finally introduce myself. I'm Francesca. Hi. And then she's like, Jenny, I've heard so much about you. It's time to end this torrid affair. And I'm like, oh my God, does she know? Like, she doesn't come out and say that she knows, but it certainly seems like she knows.
Yep.
And also, then Marina comes up and is like, ciao. And then they just leave.
No, but also Francesca invited Jenny to dinner.
Yeah. Invites her to dinner with Marina. I'm like, oh my God, what an awful idea. And Jenny literally starts crying while Francesca's talking to her.
I know. That's why I said little Pisces baby.
Yeah.
Poor thing. Yeah, it was a little devastating of an episode for Jenny. Not that she didn't deserve it, but she was being like emotionally vulnerable and raw and like kind of getting a little bit of confidence back, and then was just like had her shit rocked.
Yeah, and she's like, how could I ever compete with her? She drives a vintage Mercedes and I live out of a garbage bag and in a tool shed.
And I'm like, you're not wrong, Jenny.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. That's
Tough.
Our episode, I feel like.
Yeah.
It was a rough one. I felt most bad for Dana.
Mm-hmm.
My poor sweet
really rough
baby Dana, who was like literally disowned and rejected by her mom, even though her mom is like literally gay. The closet will do a number on you, let me tell you.
I wonder what's in there. It's a vacuum, and then literally you get sucked in. And there's swords in there, and there's tiny men.
You know what the closet is? You know what the closet is?
What?
It's the chokey from Matilda.
I don't know what that is.
Oh,
I've never seen Matilda.
What is wrong with you? The Toki from Matilda is this like literal closet that the Trunchbull, who's the principal who hates kids, it's the Roald doll book, puts kids into, and it has like nails sticking out of the door, and like it's like, yeah, you
That's
can't
child
move.
abuse.
The whole movie is child abuse. Watch Matilda, please. Oh my God, you're missing out. And Miss Honey is the first like woman I ever had a crush on, I think. If I think back, Miss Honey is like the nice teacher. This is probably why I was obsessed with all my teachers, was because I was obsessed with Miss Honey. She's so sweet and kind. And I was like, be my teacher, please. And then she becomes Matilda's like mom. It's so cute.
I just watched Halloween Town for the first time last week, and I thought that the little girl, the youngest sister, I thought that was Matilda, and my roommate was like, "No, that's not
Mara
Matilda."
Wilson is Matilda.
Okay.
There's so much lore. Haylie, oh my God. I'm so disappointed. I'm constantly disappointed in your lack of movie education. Okay, Matilda, the hours, got it.
Listeners, somebody please start making a list and write things down of whatever I'm supposed to be watching, because I'm not.
Honestly, I would really love that. Because I haven't been keeping track. It's just when it comes up, I'm so upset.
Yeah. Okay. Whoever does that, thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I really, really like somebody to be making a running list and like DM it to us on Instagram.
You can be our official secretary.
Yeah, we won't pay you, but you could come on the podcast. And you can just remind us. We can have a remembrance episode of all the movies Haylie hasn't seen and all the things Lauren's disappointed when she doesn't know what she's talking about.
Yep.
That'd be really funny.
Yeah, but before that, you have to tell us the list, and then I watch it, and then we talk about all of them in our remembrance episode.
Oh, yeah, we definitely, for sure. Okay.
Okay, so whoever wants that job, you're hired, sweetheart.
Let's go.
All right, we love y'all. We'll see you next time.
See you
Please
next
read
time.
Craze, because it's so good. I couldn't put it down.
Oh, wait, I wanted to talk about your last episode because it was phenomenal.
Thanks.
I was obsessed with it, and we all know that I am only 15 pages in. So, Haylie's face.
Lauren, I'm done with it.
Book. It's really hard. I'm gonna read tomorrow. I tried to read and then I fell asleep. I was really tired. But your episode made me so excited. I was already excited to read it, obviously, but then I was like, oh my God, I can't wait. Because like Ernest Hemingway's in there. I was obsessed. I'm obsessed with Sandra Bullock. We all know this. And she did a movie called In Love and War with not Harry Connick Jr. That was Hope Floats. I don't know, some other guy. And it's based on a book that Ernest Hemingway wrote. So I went down an Ernest Hemingway rabbit hole as a child, which I probably shouldn't have. I was a weird child. I told you I'm Shakespearean. So yes, when you mentioned Ernest Hemingway, who is very rumored to have been gay. And so the fact that you brought that out, I was like, yeah, everyone's gay, especially if you're a writer. You're super gay. Just listen to The Lakes by Taylor Swift. Come on. Anyway, I'm going to bring that up so many times. It doesn't even matter. I'm so excited. Yeah, your episode was so bomb. I can't wait to read it, and I can't wait to talk about it. I just feel like it's so good.
Oh my gosh, that book was really, really, really good. There's a particular character in it that I'm obsessed with, and I'm dying for somebody to make fan art of.
Ooh, makes incredible. I don't think she makes fan art, but she makes just incredible like comic strip style art of like lesbians, is Jennifer Prince on Instagram. I made our account follow her because I've followed her for so long, and I want her to like, if we could ever get cover art done for our podcast, I would want it to be her that did it.
At Jennifer Prince.
I mean, we'll pay you. I'll pay you. Once we start getting paid, I'll pay you. But yes, everyone, read Craze. Cannot wait to talk about it. It should be our next week's episode as long as Lauren gets her shit together, which she will. She always does.
3 cheers for Lauren getting her shit together. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Learn shit. Okay, together. All right, we love you guys. Bye.
Love you guys. Bye.